Welcome to the Calm Your Nervous System podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Adams, somatic ADHD business coach, and this is a space for you if you're a sensitive, neurodivergent, heart-led business owner who wants success without burning yourself out. Here we blend nervous system regulation with trauma-informed business strategy so you can increase your impact in a way that actually feels safe, sustainable, and aligned. You'll hear practical tools, honest behind-the-scenes conversations, mindset shifts, and a good sprinkle of spiritual woo, all designed to help you put your body first, trust yourself again, and create more ease, energy, and abundance in your life and business. I'm so glad you're here. Let's go calm your nervous system. Welcome back to another episode, and you are going to want to listen to this episode if you are a neurodivergent wellbeing practitioner who has to be on social media as part of your work and hates it. The amount of people I speak to who social media is just the bane of their life. They want to quit every week. The algorithm keeps changing. The trends keep coming and going. And it's just one of those really annoying things that just make you feel like shit, basically, because whatever you do, it's not enough. The trends are changing just when you've caught up with them. You need to be consistent all the time, and that goes against everything in your energy. And it just feels like you're being told what to do all the time. There's a fear in there as well about being trolled, about maybe people you went to school with seeing, maybe it's family members seeing what you're up to, and for you to actually get yourself out there, knowing that there are certain people watching. So what do we do in 2026? We use AI. And I'm going to share a story with you about a wonderful wellbeing practitioner that I have been working with, not as a client, somebody that I have been going to myself. And I stopped going to see her a few months ago because everything that got put out on her accounts, every message, everything you could tell was run through AI. And it completely took the soul, the human, the trust out of every interaction. Like there's a reason we will call up certain call centers because we don't want to talk to the chatbots on the internet. We actually want to talk to a fucking human. And it's the same thing when it comes to our content for our businesses. People buy from people. And in this day and age where AI can replicate what we're saying, how we look. It can write emails for us. It can write content. It's all over my feed. Just DM me this word and I'll send you 50 captions that you can put into Claude and do a month's worth of content in half an hour. And it's like, yeah, you can do that, but you're just churning out the same shit everybody else is saying. And we don't need more information because we are getting to a place now where most people, they use ChatGPT, they use Claude, Gemini. Most of us have got one of these chatbots, and I'm not against AI. I use it. It's really helpful, especially when you have ADHD. It's really good for kind of getting you going. And because I find if I start with just a blank sheet of paper, I'm like, I don't know where to start, but I can just like brain dump into it, and it helps me get my thoughts in a little bit of structure. So it is helpful. But if we use it for everything, what's the point? Like we're losing us. And for those of you listening who are well-being practitioners, your work is it's energetic, it's spiritual, it's intuitive, it's all the touchy-feely stuff that we can't just get out of a bot. Like AI will not understand what it feels like to walk into a room and know someone's just had an argument or know that there's something really good has happened. Like you cannot teach a bot how that feels. And your clients are also looking for that feeling. Like we buy from people through feeling. As much as we think we are consciously in control or making rational decisions, we're not. We buy from emotion. And if you're not stirring up some kind of emotion in your clients, if they're not feeling something when they're reading your emails, when they are going onto socials, they're just going to scroll by. They're just seeing another face, like all of the AI leaflets that I keep seeing. Like the local coffee shop's got one, the local yoga studio's got one. Like just every business that I see has the same format that you can tell has been chucked into AI. So it can be helpful, but it's also just becoming a wall of the same noise. And we need to stand out. Like you were, if you're listening to this and you are a neurodivergent wellbeing practitioner, I don't think you are a vanilla beige plain person. I mean, I'm saying this as someone who is generally head to toe in pink, drives a pink sparkly car, has been told I'm too much most of my life. If I'm putting out, 3 tips to help you with your ADHD morning routine, or like it's boiling hot at the moment, 3 tips to keep you cool in summer, drink lots of water, exercise regularly in the cool, just same old shit. We know the stuff. No one is looking for that stuff. They want to see you. Who are you? Who is the personality? And for those of you who've been listening to this podcast for a while, why do you keep coming back? Is it for the information? Maybe. Or is it to maybe hear a little bit more about me and my life and what I've got going on? Is there an energetic pull here? Or are you here purely just for information? Your clients are going to be thinking, probably subconsciously, the same thing. They're going to be drawn to you based on you. So, this wellbeing practitioner that I was going to earlier in the year, just every single message was run through a bot. And it's stuff like, for my favourites, I'm offering a quieter entry into this space with a reduced energy exchange for limited number of commissions. If you feel the pull, you can simply reply to this message and we'll begin with a conversation. No pressure, just connection first. Now, for those of us, again, who have ADHD, pattern recognition, straight away, I'm like, that is written how AI writes things. I know you've not written that. And then it makes me think, well, why have you run that through a bot? Why can't you just send me a message? Like, this is a personal message. Why does that need to be run through a bot? And it just screams to me self-doubt and self-consciousness and lack of self-trust as well. Now, and I'm very picky with who I trust with my energy because I'm so sensitive and empathic and intuitive. I have been in so many different types of well-being classes and things, and I can tell that the instructor's masking. And I'm like, I don't want to be talking to a mask. I don't feel safe if you're pretending that everything's okay, and then you come out of the class and you're screaming at your husband on the phone, or which I have seen, by the way. I have seen someone literally on the phone to their husband, oh, for fuck's sake, no, we need to sort this out. And then like 30 seconds later, hi everyone, how are we doing? And it's just like, no, oh, what? No, just I don't want to be in that energy. um, so we feel it. You know, I want to be in spaces where people are being honest and upfront. And I try my absolute best to walk the walk and talk the talk. And there is that phrase, you share from the scar, not necessarily the wound. So there are certain things in my personal life that I go through and I look after myself. I'm not here to use you guys to kind of trauma dump at, but I'm upfront and honest as best as I can because authenticity is important. People can feel it. And depending on who your clients are, I know my clients are neurodivergent wellbeing practitioners. You are smart. You know if I'm bullshitting you. So why bother? And it was that over reliance on AI, it just gave me the ick. It just made me not feel safe in that space anymore. So I stopped going. And if you are somebody who hates social media, or it's one of those like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do it. It's a pain in the ass. I don't want to be seen. No one wants to see my face on socials. I just don't have the confidence. If you're saying these sorts of things, or maybe you have recorded a few talking reels and you've recorded the same thing over and over and over and over, and you're just, by the end of it, just so fed up with yourself, you've either just deleted it or just been like, oh, fuck it, I'm putting it out there. And then you don't get the views that you want or the engagement. Maybe the energy's gone out there of, oh, this is the 15th one I've done, just fucking send it. That gets picked up on when we can feel that frustration. And, this is where we can play with the energy of what's going on around us, our vibration, not just the algorithm, because I can go through a very tightly marketed post that I might put up on my social media. If it gets scheduled and sent out, it doesn't always do that well. When it's one of those idea drops that's just popped into my head. So a couple of weeks ago, it was really, really, really hot. And I knew I was going to go for a swim after work. I had my bikini on and I was like, you know what? Everyone is thinking this. I'm going to be the one that does it. So I stripped off in my office. I'm sat here in my bikini with three fans on me. I'm like, yeah, I feel like fucking Beyonce with three fans on me because like the backs of my knees are sweating. It's that hot. Everyone wants to do this. And I posted that reel, and would you say that goes viral? It did about 20 to 30 times better than most of my content would. It got pushed out to a lot of people, got a lot of new follows from that. And it's those sorts of things that happen that's not part of my content strategy necessarily. And this is something I've been leaning into a lot more this year, is just following the downloads when they come, being playful, putting myself out there. That's me sat in a bikini in my office and opening myself up to all sorts of comments. Now, I think I had previously called out the trolls in a previous post. So I think they were a bit like, maybe we won't because she's going to call us out. But the trolls have been there. A lot of the posts that I put out there that have gone viral, I have been called a scammer. I have been called an attention seeker. I've been called cringe. Um, I've then had the armchair fucking mansplainers trying to tell me that they know more than I do and don't. Oh, yeah, idiots. Um, so the first time those things have happened, it didn't feel good. But my nervous system is now in a place that I'm just going to push out the fun, because for each of those posts, I know my ideal client is watching that and they are commenting, they are liking it. Not always, or they're just slipping into my DMs and saying, I wish I had the courage to do that. I love that you have put this up. Thank you for sharing it. Your people need to see you. And that's just some of the weird, crazy shit that I get up to that I have actually learned to enjoy doing on social media, because part of me was like, well, I'm a somatic ADHD business coach. I talk a lot about trauma and the nervous system and healing and how do we run our businesses so we're not burning out. There's a lot of like what could be quite heavy, serious stuff in here, but we have also forgotten to play. And the more I've just been my normal, playful, silly self and actually been sharing it, the bigger my account is growing, the more clients I'm getting through, the more speaking opportunities I'm getting as well. Things are working well because I'm being more me online. And if the idea of that, if you're listening to this and just being like, oh, that's okay for you, but I couldn't do that. Oh my God, that's like my worst nightmare. And I think it's actually been proven that humans' biggest fear is not the fear of dying, not sharks, not heights. It's fear of public speaking, which is crazy because how many people are out there on their pedestals talking absolute shit because they just have the confidence. And there's so many amazing women that I speak to one to one a lot of the time who have, yeah, so much to share, but there's a block with actually getting out there to more people. And I don't think I've worked with anybody who has said that they wanted to work with me because of a particular piece of information that I put out there. I think every single one of my clients has said to me, I am working with you because you understand what it's like to be neurodivergent, to have run a well-being business and try to juggle your own life, to have recovered from a chronic illness or burnout. They can see themselves in my story and my journey because I have shared that with them. If I go and spout all my qualifications, does it mean that much? I mean, there are much more qualified people out there, but haven't been through the same life experience that I have. And qualifications aren't everything. And this side, side tangent here, but this is also why I'm so grateful that I didn't go to university. I got into university to study psychology. Funnily enough, I've gone into a kind of psychology role now. But if I did, I think I would just come out with a very medicalized view of symptoms, disorders, and brain structures and problems, as opposed to seeing humans and experience and like the deep root of why things happen. So I'm very grateful I didn't go to university because I wouldn't be able to do the job I do now. I wouldn't have the self-compassion. I know that because I think if you go into anything medical, you were just taught, here's the symptoms. They are just a psychiatric disorder. They're a neurodevelopmental disorder. It's a serotonin deficiency. And it's like, there's a bit more going on than that. But this is where us intuitive wellbeing practitioners are a bit of ahead of the game, and I think science needs to catch up with us. So if you are someone who is hating on social media, why? Because social media asks you to be all the things your nervous system has told you is not safe. So it asks you to perform as the expert. And if you are someone who has come from a corporate background, if you've been in any meetings, you've had to have every single fact perfect. You know people are going to question you, they're going to call you out. If you don't have everything perfectly done, don't bother. It doesn't give you the space to show up messy because it's been wired into your nervous system. If you're going to talk about what you do and call yourself an expert, you need to know everything about everything to do with what you do because God forbid someone calls you out. And if you are ex-corporate, you might have actually been in situations where maybe you've been stood up giving a presentation in front of 20, 30, 100 people, and somebody has said, oh, have you fact checked that? Or that stat looks wrong. Or where did you get that from? Or can you follow up with this? And then you just go, shit, I don't know. And the worst thing is then saying, I don't know, or just trying to bullshit your way out of it. But it's that feeling, all those eyes on you, that's the same feeling that your nervous system is going, yeah, remember that? That's what social media is going to feel like. What if someone trolls you? What if they call you out and say, well, actually, it's been proven that such and such works, or there's been no scientific proof that homeopathy works. You're just a charlatan or snake oil salesman, whatever. What happens? Can you see a comment like that and your whole nervous system reacts? Or can you see that and just go, I know what I'm doing is it works. I know what I'm doing. They can just fuck off, basically. Social media also asks you to be vulnerable, to share your story, to show up messy, imperfect. But you have probably learnt to survive by needing to be 3 steps ahead, to be a perfectionist, to be in control of the narrative, to keep you safe. So whenever you've shown up imperfect, messy, vulnerable in life, it has probably led to some kind of rejection or pain. And we're going back to childhood, standing up in a classroom and being asked to spell a word and getting it wrong and people laughing at you, or the teacher telling you that you should know this, pay more attention, stop daydreaming. It's that thrown in with some RSD, it feels so much more intense. So, of course, we're going to avoid being vulnerable, being messy on social media because it just brings up all of that stuff. It is also asking us to play a grown-up popularity contest. Be the most popular one, get the most views. How many likes have you received? Are you just being cringy and people are laughing at you? What if the friends that you went to school with, the cool girls, see it and they are laughing at you all over again? Oh my God, how pathetic. Look how hard she's trying. What a loser. What if you put something out there and it fails publicly? What if you look like an absolute muppet? What if a post goes viral and then all your comments are just full of trolls and they're picking at you? Look at the state of her. Can you see her cellulite? Look at her back rolls. She's too fat to put that out there. How disgusting. What a mess. What an attention seeker. All of that stuff, it is being picked last on the school netball team all over again. It's showing up to school with the cool trainers and trying really hard, and then the cool kids saying, "Oh my God, they were so last year. What a loser." And it's those same feelings that come up when you put a reel out there, you put a post out there on socials, and no one sees it, or it doesn't immediately turn into paying clients. And then you go into that spiral of, oh my God, well, no one's seen it. So shall I just delete it because no one actually wants that offer I put out there? And then you have to try and make money out of this, out of being the popular kid. How do you do that without masking? How do you do that with all of these parts of your nervous system saying this is not safe? And then you're asked on top of that to be consistent, to post at least 3 times a week, maybe 5 times a week, multiple times a day if you can. Show up on stories every day. And then forcing that consistency just kills any creativity that you have. Because the perfectionist in you is saying, well, if I don't follow this strategy, what's the point? Just chuck it out. Nothing's going to work. It needs to be done perfectly or don't bother. And then you might go through phases where you have a bit of creative inspiration for a while, and then maybe life takes over, work gets busy, it falls off, and then you haven't, before you know it, you haven't posted in 6 months. Or you're throwing out about 6 different offers all at once. And remember, people aren't seeing everything you put out. So they might go to your grid and they're just confused because you're not following any kind of strategy. There isn't any kind of consistency in there. Or maybe you're worried that you will just run out of ideas and just, what do I put on there? Like, what do people want to see? They're not interested in my life. Like, I'm just going about my day to day. The people are really nosy. They want to know what you're having for your breakfast. They want to know how much money you're earning, what's going on behind the scenes, how you manage your business. Like, people are nosy. They want to see that stuff. And you know what the biggest one in here actually is the fear of success. Because what happens if you do go viral? What happens if your business does take off and you are able to live a different kind of lifestyle? Maybe it's moving into a bigger home. Maybe it's moving abroad. Maybe it's sending your kids to a private school. Maybe it's that handbag that you really want. What are those things that drive you that actually, if I got to a certain place in life, this is how I would spend my money. This is what it means for my family. This is what it means for me. Is it nicer holidays? Is it a nicer car? What are those things that people will also be seeing and judging you on? Oh, hasn't she changed? Who does she think she is? And I actually went through this myself a few years ago, where I had bought my first Tesla on a lease when I was working in my corporate job. And I was showing up to Pilates classes in this fairly new Tesla. And I just felt so misaligned because I've always been a petrol head. I love my cars. But something in me was like, I can't be doing a spiritual well-being movement practice, like a conscious practice, and turning up in this new flashy nice car. Like, I'm not driving it because I'm like, oh, look at me. I just genuinely love cars, if you haven't got that from listening to these podcasts so far. So when that lease ended and I sent it back, I bought myself a 12 15-year-old Mini. Bear in mind, I'd had two Minis before. They both broke on me big time. This one, oh my God, it had so many red flags when I went to see it. Bought it anyway. I think I lasted 6 months with it, and it was a really hot day. and it just couldn't run the aircon and an engine, and it just conked out. And going from a Tesla, which is a quite big car, to a Mini, like I was literally shrinking myself because I didn't want to be seen as too much, as too successful. I already had a 5 bedroom house. I think we'd just come off a retreat that we'd gone to in Hawaii. There was a big part of me that I knew I was being watched. I knew my clients were seeing the holiday, the car, the house. And I didn't feel fully confident in owning that at the time. So what did I do? Didn't feel safe. I shrunk because we're always 3 steps ahead. It's easier for me to shrink myself than to have to listen to people say, who does she think she is? Has she got a bit too big for her boots? Oh, she's all about the money. She's too materialistic. Maybe you should stop going on so many nice holidays. Now, I don't get that anymore. Something in my energy and my nervous system has changed because I don't believe any of that stuff anymore. I'm not living from that place. And the reason I am sharing this with you is because there is a good reason if you are not enjoying social media and feeling resistance to it, it's not just because maybe you don't have the right strategy or you haven't got the right color patterns yet, or you're just not posting enough. It's not as simple as that. If every time you show up on social media in whatever way, it makes you feel like shit, you're not going to want to go back on social media. You're not going to want to go back to something that makes you feel like shit. So, what do? Either avoid it, try and quit, put everything through AI, because if it's AI talking those words, it's not as personal. If you get trolled based on what AI has come up with, they're not picking at you necessarily. There's that wall between you, the real you, and whoever those trolls are. And if we are the ultimate maskers as neurodivergent wellbeing practitioners, how much of your time and your content are you showing up through the lens of what do people want to see? Who do I need to be? How are people going to want to like, how are people going to like me? And we put earning money into all of this, and it is just a shitstorm. So no wonder you're feeling resistance towards social media, especially this day and age where, personal branding, social media, it is such a big part of our businesses. And we can't hide behind a fancy logo and a website anymore. People are buying from people. We want to trust, we need to trust somebody before we hand them over any money. And especially when we're working with energy and healing and pain management and bettering people's lives, they really want to know who they're giving their money to. And this is nothing to do with how confident you are naturally as a person. I would say myself now, I am quite a confident person. I haven't always been, not at all. My nervous system has learnt that it is safe to be seen. It is safe to be me. When I first met one of my friends, I'd just come out of an abusive relationship and I was so scared to open my mouth. Like, I was just sat in a room reading. Is this okay to say? What if people think I'm interrupting? What if I get called out? I was so quiet, which if you know me now, you'll probably be like, really? But yes, I was petrified of saying anything because anything that came out my mouth had no value because I thought so little of myself. Confidence has come from putting myself out there over and over and over. And actually, even watching back some of my content, some of my teaching videos from years ago, when I first watched them, I go, oh my God, my voice, does my voice really sound like that? Oh, that's horrible. Do I look like that? That's weird. Why am I standing funny? All of that. And then I kind of softened into, oh, she sounds like she knows what she's talking about. Like I'd almost tricked myself into not knowing that was me and watching along. I think it was one of my embodiment classes I had years ago. And I started kind of following along. And then I'm like, hang on a minute, that's me. I almost got over the, oh, what do I sound like? What do I look like? And then saw how I came across. And I was like, actually, she knows what she's talking about. And then the more I did that, the more confident I came across, the easier it became. That fear of, oh my God, what if I fuck this up, lessened massively. So I think we need to strip some of the shame and the beating ourselves up when it comes to how we deal with social media. Because we might freeze when it comes to posting things. We might sit there and go over and over and over something before we will send it out. We might change every single aspect ratio so everything looks perfect in all the right places and just not post something messy. And then every time you get caught up in that freeze response, you either want to just say, fuck it, I'm done. I'm not doing social media anymore because of how it makes you feel. And then each time you've maybe edited something and then got fed up and not been able to finish it, or you've got distracted or had to go do something else and it hasn't been finished, you're just going to lump yourself with a whole load of shame. As one of my clients calls it, bitch FM. Those voices come in. I told you you couldn't do it. No one wants to see it. Oh, so you can't follow anything through. You're so inconsistent. All that shit comes in. So what happens next time you sit down to maybe post something? That voice, that bitch FM gets turned back on again and it becomes harder and harder. So of course you're going to avoid it. If AI can do it for you, maybe it's a little bit easier. Just whack something out through AI. But let's be honest, is it doing anything? Is it just filling the internet with more noise? Are your clients seeing those AI posts and interacting with them? Or do they want to see more of you? So if you are fed up of social media making you feel sick, or it feels like leaving the house with no clothes on every single time you go to post something, I've got something for you because visibility isn't about your strategy. It's not about, okay, what do you need to post? When do you need to post it? What kind of content pillars do you need to hit? There's some of that, but most of it is to do with what's going on in your nervous system and how safe you feel being visible, being seen. So starting on the 20th of July, I've got a 10-day challenge called the Safe to Be Seen Challenge, which is going to help you understand why showing up online feels so uncomfortable. And each day there's going to be a small actionable step that's going to give you that nervous system proof that it's not as bad as you think it is. It's going to give you the evidence to feel safe showing up. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be posting reels of you sat in a bikini in your office on day one. If you want to do that, fair enough, crack on. But if just the idea of filming yourself just makes you feel like shitting your pants, come into the challenge. It's £22, which isn't a ridiculous bargain. You get a daily voice note in there from me with a small actionable step to help keep you accountable. You get two powerful subconscious reprogramming tracks that are available as soon as you join. So if you're listening to this live, then you can get in today and start using those to help reprogram your subconscious and your nervous system. So you're not feeling so much resistance every time you want to interact with social media. And these aren't sit still and meditate for an hour. They are things that you can incorporate into your busy lifestyle. And you've also got a community in there where you're going to be sharing wins as prizes to be won in there as well to keep you accountable and to help back you up with this. Because if you're listening to this, you are not the only person that feels like this. I have these conversations with people all the time, which is what has inspired me to create this challenge because I don't want more mediocre white men out there sharing half the knowledge and wisdom that you have, but twice as loud. More of us women have incredible stories, energy. We've got so much goodness to share, and we're just hiding. So let's get out of hiding in a safe way. And this isn't going to be about pushing through and like bro energy of like, just fucking do it. No, no, we're not doing any of that. This is how to find that safety in your nervous system. You go at a pace that feels safe for you. I might gently nudge you, but I'm not going to be there screaming on your shoulder, being like, you need to fucking do this. No, because that doesn't work. That's just going to cause another reaction in our nervous system. This is about you building up evidence to show that it is safe to be seen. So by the end of the challenge, you will understand deeper why it feels so hard to show up online and stop beating yourself up over it. Most importantly, you will have posted one reel that you've been talking yourself out of because it feels safe enough, not because you forced yourself into doing it. You'll be showing up more as you and understanding who you actually are. So, what are those specific things that your ideal clients are wanting to see? Not the polished AI version, but actually the real, authentic you feel happy to share and feel proud that you've showed up, even if it is a bit messy. You'll have talked about what you do without it feeling like you're bragging as well. And when you have posted, you're not going to be sat there constantly refreshing and deleting. You'll start to feel what it's like to be creating in flow and using social media as a creative output. Because if you have ADHD and you're listening to this, I know you are creative. You are not one who has no ideas. I mean, how many of you listening right now have multiple businesses or arms of business, podcasts, newsletters, different social media channels, Substack, all the things? You are not short on ideas. How can we channel that creativity into what your clients want to see? What is fun for you as well? Following the download when it hits instead of just putting it in your notes app and letting it die. And most importantly, stopped hating social media so much. Use it to play with, to have fun. And your clients are going to love seeing more of this. They're going to learn to trust you. They're going to want to get into your world. They're going to want to be handing you over money. So this is a 10-day challenge. We start on the 20th of July. It's £22. You can head over to jennyadamscoach.co.uk/challenge. Or if you are on Instagram, if you just DM me the word visible, you will get my little chat bot. This is where AI is helpful to send you the link. If you have any questions, you know where I am. But imagine sharing the real you and not feeling sick afterwards. And you won't be on your own with this as well. So you'll have a group of other women just like you cheering you on. It's really going to be strengthening that nervous system muscle that this is safe. So we start 20th of July. I don't have another plan to run this in the near future. So if you're umming and ahhing about it, get yourself in. And I would love to see you in the challenge because more women like you need to get your work out there into the world. So hopefully see you inside Safe to Be Seen. We start on the 20th of July. And I'm going to be here rooting for you. I cannot wait to see where this takes you and to see more of your content and more of you that your clients are also going to want to love and see. Thank you so much for being here and listening to this episode. If something landed for you, I'd massively appreciate you leaving a 5-star review or share this episode with someone who would really benefit from it. Your support helps this podcast reach more sensitive neurodivergent business owners who are ready to do things differently and increase your impact, with more regulation, more ease, and less burnout. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next episode.